Now, hopefully my girls will come, and if they don't come, well, I'm glad to hear that it's sunny in Vancouver today. If they don't come, then I'll share all of the links with you at the end. But let's get started, since I'm sure we all have busy days and we've only allocated an hour for this. I think what I'm going to start doing is doing this in two parts, because there's just too much information to share and I try to cram it all in. And with my lovely voice issues, it's always fun. So first, obviously, I want to welcome you. I'm Lauren Cohen, international legal and real estate investment expert. I happen to be a lawyer and a realtor, and I'm going to make her a co-host. And I specialize in helping Canadians and other investors invest across borders. And also, just a moment, I just want to make her a co-host here. But I don't limit it just to Canadians. As a matter of fact, yesterday, I just got hired by a German investor through some of my partners at EXP. And I like pretty much working with anybody that's interested in expanding their horizons, investing across borders, building a network, and even investing from the US or Canada into other countries, such as France or Mexico, Costa Rica, Belize, very popular destinations, Israel, one of my favorites, but very expensive and lots of regulations. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Anyway, I'm Lauren Cohen. I'm also the host of Investing Across Borders, where we teach you how to invest, live, work, and play across borders. That's the name of my podcast. I would invite all of you to subscribe to my podcast. I present new amazing guests every week. Actually, I'm waiting for my friend Mark to get on the show. We haven't had a moment to spare. We've been so busy helping clients, but there's some really cool guests that we've had over the past 14 months already. It's amazing. And it's a great resource for you guys, not only to learn about investing across borders, but also about mindset and business expansion and business development and joint venture relationships and real estate investing, and you name it, it's there. I need to make this disclaimer because I am a lawyer in Canada and the US, but none of this is legal advice and should not be construed as such, nor is it investment advice, because we'll talk a little bit about a new project that we're working on, bringing people into some amazing investment opportunities in Florida, specifically in the Orlando area. So Shema, are you able to let the people in as they come in?
Lauren, you accidentally put Bruno as a co-host, not Shema.
Uh-oh. How did I do that? Okay, so hold on. Let me see how I did that. Co-host. Okay, thank you. And okay, perfect. Thanks, Mary, for letting me know. So let's get started again. As I said, this is a disclaimer. So what's in it for you? Are you considering investing south of the border or across borders if you're from a country other than Canada? I happen to be a little bit biased toward Canada because I am Canadian, but Miri is originally from Mexico, and she's been through all this fun immigration stuff too. And so we work together. She helps me with all of my copy on literally everything. She's been a great asset to this company. I thank you for everything you've done. She's also been a great friend. She lives about a half hour from me, and we have not met in person. So that's our own responsibility, and we need to change that over the holiday season. Anyway, my focus today is on getting you out of lockdown, avoiding the winter, coming to the sunshine, because pretty much every day here it's sunny, sometimes a little too sunny. I'm not complaining, but it's challenging when you're trying to get the right lighting for a podcast or a webinar or something like that. Invest in real estate and a vacation opportunity, create options and flexibility for yourself and your family, expand your horizons. Don't let fear stop you from pursuing your dreams. Explore ways to live and work in the US, and guess what? Become an entrepreneur. Because one of the beautiful things about pursuing one of these visas is that not only can you invest in real estate, but you can start to run your own business. And that's something that Mark, my friend here, is going to talk about a little bit in a moment. So I'm going to switch over, hopefully, to watch a quick video that my team created. Can you see the video, guys? Yes?
Not yet.
Not yet?
No.
Okay, hold on.
We can see you. So.
I appreciate that, but you can see me anytime. Now?
Yeah.
Now, yes?
just can't hear it.
It's okay. It's overrated. It's just very dull music, which they need to change. And I need to fix that. I remember these days.
So they had like,
but I do not miss them. That's not me, just saying. All right. So I am going to now switch back to my regular share. So basically, I just wanted to do that to give you some effect, because oftentimes when I'm presenting, it's a lot of information, and it's more important that you have the vision of what we can bring to your life and the opportunity that this offers. And it's not just about getting your visa, it's also about investment opportunities and creating those strategies and building the opportunities across borders. Because listen, we all know in Canada, the prices are crazy, the regs are insane. The taxes are out of control when you're investing in real estate, especially, for example, in my hometown of the GTA, the Greater Toronto Area, you're going to pay land transfer tax out the wazoo, like ×3, and every other tax that's known to man. And so in the US, well, many Canadians choose to invest across borders. Some don't even invest at all in their own backyard. One of my good friends, Mike Wolf, probably the most successful real estate investor in Canada, has, I think, never purchased a property in Canada directly, maybe through joint venture, but all of his investments are across borders. And part of the reason is because, there's volume, there's numbers, there's opportunity, there's less regs. You can buy a property in a place like Ohio for $50,000 and potentially have a lot of ongoing cash flow, consistent access to upside income, and so on and so forth. So the opportunities are endless. I go through these top 10 mistakes of investing cross borders way too quickly, because the reality is that these are the crux of why you need to work with a team like ours. Because if you don't, you're going to hit at least some, if not all, of these walls. And Miri and I and others that are on the call that have been through some type of immigration process know that when you're doing this, it's not easy. And having a team of professionals that really hold your hand and cares about your welfare and guides you through the process is super important. And just finding somebody online or going, just randomly searching it out or something like that is not ever going to work well for you. And the problem is that there's a lot of people that are working independent of each other. And with our team, we're going to be working holistically as one group that's going to be offering you the range of services that you need to ensure success, not only in terms of your visa, but also in terms of the business and the choice and your investment opportunities, and working with our team of realtors literally across the country that brings you so much opportunity to create investment and business opportunities across borders. Undercapitalizing, not using other people's money, hiring the least expensive professionals, not finding access to mortgage funding or other funding, not considering a visa, not setting up the right infrastructure. All of these are very, very negative challenges that can and do lead to a lot of problems, not only in terms of the visa, but in terms of running your business. And you can't approach this as one size fits all, because what works in Canada, what works in Germany, what works in France doesn't necessarily and does not work in the US, and vice versa. So it's making sure that you have that local team on the ground that can help you to make sure that you're not compromising your family and your assets that you currently have. And this slide is available as a download. The worst things that could happen, well, I'll tell you my story, because that's really one of the worst things that can happen. So on my honeymoon, 2007, very beginning, I got married to somebody, and he was originally from Montreal. And we went on our honeymoon. I met him here in Florida. We went on our honeymoon to Thailand. And I did not know, because I wasn't in the immigration field at the time, and I wasn't cognizant that he was inadmissible. So as soon as he leaves the country, he's going to have a problem coming back into the country. Well, I didn't know that. So we go on our honeymoon to Thailand. I mean, you would think maybe he would have told me or something. But anyway, on the way back, they took him from me at the Chicago O'Hare Airport. They said they put him into immigration jail. They expeditiously removed him. They subsequently deported him. And this is on the way back from our honeymoon. So needless to say, I was a little surprised. I was a little taken aback, and I was a little shocked. And I was a little like, oh my God, what do I do now? You know, one of those, oh my God situations. Now, I did not have the right team in place. I did not know enough to know any better. And he was barred from entry for 10 years. Needless to say, we were divorced soon thereafter for a variety of reasons. It was never a good choice for me. And the silver lining of it all, which is the name of my book, Finding Your Silver Lining in the Business Immigration Process, is that I now help other people avoid a similar fate, because it really is not something you ever want to happen, especially when you're on your honeymoon or building an investment portfolio. You don't want to be stopped or prevented from visiting or going or doing or continuing your marriage, for example. So you'll miss out on credit opportunities, potential deals, relationships, just like the list goes on. These are the main visas that are available through business and other investment opportunities. We're going to focus today on the E2 and the E1 to a certain extent, and the EB5 a little bit. Sorry, somebody is not muted. If you would be so kind as to mute yourself, I'd appreciate it. Especially my voice, I can't talk loudly, so I apologize. So an E2 is a treaty investor visa. Sorry, I don't know who it is, but I hear noise. Could somebody please mute yourself, whoever it is that I'm hearing? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So the E2 is a treaty investor visa. The E1 is a treaty trader visa. They are very, very similar visas in terms of their requirements, their obligations, and their opportunities. They are both potentially 5-year visas, unless you do a change of status within the US, which we'll talk about briefly in a little bit. Both are based on treaty. Not all countries have both an E2 and E1 available. Some have just an E2, some have just an E1. An E1 is, as I said, based on trade. It means that you have to engage in a substantial amount of trade with your home country in goods and or services. So my client, whose testimonial you'll see shortly, he runs a company that does a lot of trade shows. His company is called JVology in Canada, and he's from Calgary. And he run, obviously a lot of this is pre-COVID, okay? So he was doing so many events in the US and going back and forth across the border so much, and God willing, we'll be able to do that again very soon, that he didn't want to deal with the constant challenges that he was facing at the border, even though he wasn't planning and is not planning to move. So we got him an E1 visa because he buys and sells goods and services between the two countries significantly. So that visa is available if you're doing that kind of cross-border investment and cross-border trade. Okay. The E2 is a treaty investor visa. It's based on a substantial investment in a non-marginal business. So what does that mean? So for argument's sake, we like to say that the average investment or the minimum investment threshold that I will generally work with is 100,000 US. All of these numbers are in US dollars. Okay. Now, that does not mean that it's set in stone, or that if there's no reg that says, like in EB5, there's a reg that says exactly how much you need to invest. In E2, there's not. It just says substantial. Substantiality is based on the type of business. So if it's a real estate investment business, it's going to have to be that much higher. Why? Because you're getting a tangible asset in exchange for your investment. So they want to see that your money's at risk. Is not really that at risk in a real estate business. So a lot of immigration lawyers and others frown upon real estate because of that, because real estate is not a very well received business. However, if we structure it properly and include some multifamily and commercial, there are ways, and we'll get into that, because my special kind of sauce is how to immigrate through real estate. The other thing is that it has to be a non-marginal business, and marginality means that you're not just replacing your family's income. So you want to make sure that you are not only building a business, but employing staff, having an economic impact, having an impact on your local and maybe regional and potentially even state and national populations, that your business is doing more than just serving a small niche need, and that you are doing more than just retaining yourselves, because you and your spouse do not count as employees for the purposes of employing people in the US. It has to be a US resident or citizen. Okay. So that's about the marginality. What is an E2? As I mentioned, it's a bilateral treaty between the US and the applicant's country. Most European countries have this: Canada, Mexico, Argentina, Colombia, but not Venezuela, not Brazil, Russia, India, South Africa, China, the UAE. A lot of the countries do not have it available, so they have to go for other options. But if you have an E2 or E1 available, I always like this as the kind of easiest visa to get and the easiest visa to keep. So in my book called, as I mentioned, Finding Your Silver Lining in the Business Immigration Process, I call the E2 visa the coveted visa and the E1 the forgotten visa, because not a lot of people pursue an E1. I don't know why. Most people, I think because maybe the attorneys don't understand the scope of it or something along those lines. But anyway, the fact of the matter is that the investor must own at least 50% of the business. Now, that can actually be the investor's business that owns 50% of the business, okay? So in other words, if you have a Canadian business that owns 50% of the US business, that will be okay as well. You must direct or manage the business in the US, so you can't just be tangentially involved. However, there are ways to be a little bit creative, which Mark will address in a few minutes, about how to kind of be less involved, I guess, especially if you're going to remain in your home country more often than not. The business must be real and not marginal, and these visas are granted for up to 5 years and they are renewable. This is a bit about the E2 or E1 process, which I will be happy to share this slide with you. It's just kind of walking you through the timelines, through the process step by step. What business will you own? So one of the benefits of the E2 or E1, as I mentioned, is that you're generally going to be a business owner. And a lot of people have never been business owners before. They're just embarking on an entrepreneurial lifestyle. Some of good examples of business options include franchises, which I love, turnkey businesses, event and marketing businesses, pet and kid businesses. Why? Because they are very recession proof. Hospitality and management businesses, property management companies, and service businesses. And I turn this over to you, Mark, in one moment. Are you ready? So these are just some pictures of some of the businesses or some of the opportunities that owning these businesses lead to. And Mark, are you there?
I'm back.
Uh-oh, it's very,
Hear me?
not so well.
I can hear you well.
It's okay now. So Mark, why don't you just tell us a little bit about the business opportunity that you bring to the table?
So as Lauren indicated, the E2 visa does not require
It's still
the owner.
Mark, I'm having trouble hearing you. Maybe you should turn off your video.
Okay.
Sorry.
How about that? Can you hear me now?
Yes, much better.
Okay. So the E2 visa is a business visa. It allows you to set up a business in the US, and it does not expect the owner of the business to be present in the United States full time. It does not require the owner to be at the business every day working. The only requirement is that the investor, business owner, direct the business. And this is because this is a non-immigrant visa, so it expects the owner to go back in her country and to, basically have this ability to go pass through the borders quite simply. So traditionally, up until recently, a lot of immigrants would leave their country and buy a pizza shop or a 7-Eleven or a gas station. And they would trade poverty or near poverty in their country for a 14-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week job in a pizza shop making pizzas, or in a convenience store or gas station. But that's been the model. But lately, a new way has emerged, and something that I'm doing with Lauren and plenty of other people are doing, is that you can start a company in the US, you can own it, fund it, be responsible for it, but you can have a management team in place that will manage the company for you. And as a result, I and Lauren have put together several companies that I'm very familiar with, that are easy to fund, easy to develop, and where day-to-day operations are guided by myself and my team under the supervision of the business owner. We are not taking away the owner's ownership or control of the business, but we are responsible for the day-to-day operations. And the owner is in full communication with the business every day, every week, knows exactly what's going on in the bank account. No big decisions are made without the owner. And that satisfies the requirement that the owner direct the business. And so for people who have achieved a certain level of comfort in their country, it does not make any sense to leave their country and come here and run a pizza shop 7 days a week, 14 hours a day. But it does make sense to be an owner of business, not that it's absentee, but that there's a management team in place that has experience and that's been running that kind of business in multiple locations. And that's basically what Lauren and I have combined our forces to offer to investors who don't want to come to the US and operate a pizza shop or a retail shop. There are other simple businesses that I recommend to people who don't want, my business, a laundromat. Somebody you can invite, you can invest in a laundromat. There's usually 1 or 2 staffers there. It brings in money and it's not a management headache. That's a less headache business than a pizza shop. But if you want the really ultimate headacheless business, it's a business that somebody who knows what they're doing runs for you. And that's what Lauren and I put together for people.
Thank you, Mark. So yes, and the beauty of the business that Mark and I are cross promoting is that it will also complement your real estate investment business, because I work with a lot of real estate investors. So some of my most successful real estate investors are actually investing in this business option. So it's not just for somebody that doesn't want to be involved. It's not even necessarily for somebody that doesn't have a business background, but it definitely is a plus for those types of people. For example, if you don't want to invest in a franchise, which is complicated, and you do have to be involved on a day-to-day basis, because that's part of what the franchise does when they do due diligence of you. It's not just one-way due diligence, it's two-way. So these are other options that are available that we come up with because I want my clients to make, check off all their check boxes, right? So can real estate investments qualify for E2 visas? They can, but only if they are meeting certain requirements, and you can't be passively involved. It can't be an asset holding company. It can't be a buy and flip. It can't be a rental company in which you hold title and not much more. You have to be actively involved in running a business. That is a big distinction. And that line in the sand is not always easy to draw. So what types of real estate investments can qualify? Well, you can potentially have a few Airbnbs, multiple multifamily properties, commercial properties, mobile homes, and similar, like there's an RV park that a client of mine is buying that can potentially qualify. It depends on what you're doing. So the whole thing is that why would an Airbnb qualify and not just if it's like, let's say a triplex? Why would it qualify as part of your investment if it's Airbnb and not just a long-term rental? Well, because there's a lot more business activity involved in running an Airbnb than in an annual lease, where you just basically deal with stuff like maybe you have to have a service agreement in place and then you deal with stuff once a year. So that's not really a business. So we have to turn an otherwise passive business model into an active business. And think about it, in Canada, a business, a home flipping business is considered an active business. In the US, it's not. So we have to make that transition and make sure that we can help you qualify. So 10 steps. This is one of my favorite slides that we just recently created, although I'm not sure why it has those little things in the corner. So, and this slide is the 10 steps to successful US real estate investment. So I'm happy to share this slide with you guys as well. This is my kind of my claim to fame. I created this about just over a year ago, probably about 13 months ago, in response to one of my friends and clients here in Florida, who's originally from Ottawa. He said, my clients don't want to think. They want a one-stop shop. They want to come to you. They want everything done for them. They want to know that they're going to get their visa as easily and painlessly as possible. So I created this 10 steps to immigrate through real estate. And it really does walk you through these 10 steps. And if you follow these 10 steps, you're pretty much going to be successful. Obviously, no guarantee. I can't guarantee what the government is going to do or say, but we're going to walk you through this and hold your hand, literally hold your hand every step of the way. Maybe not literally, figuratively. And steps 1 through 8 are applicable whether you're going to whether you're going to immigrate or not. And that's really important because you want to have your right structure in place. You want to have financing. You need to make sure that you speak with my cross-border tax advisor who writes to me, like we are in communication every day. And he himself is the recipient of an E2 visa and lives now. We just bought him a house or helped him find a house here in South Florida. In Boca Raton. He's actually on my way between my house and my son's school. I pass him every single day. So there you go. So it is possible. He's my go-to cross-border tax advisor, and he's very happy to be in Boca right now at this time of year, particularly. I also have access to an amazing financing option, which I will stick in the chat. They actually are the sponsor of my podcast. It's called Lendi. They specialize in working with Canadians and other foreign nationals, but Canadians especially, that are investing in non-owner occupied US real estate. Sound familiar? But you know what? It's often challenging to get access to that financing. Now, at this very moment, they do not fund short-term rentals, but that will change probably by the new year. I just spoke with them this morning and they said 4 to 6 weeks. So I'm pushing for a little shorter, but it will be early in the new year that they will have access to short-term rental financing at great rates. And the main requirement is that you have a US entity set up, which all my clients are going to do anyway, because I'm not going to let any of them invest in real estate through their own personal names, because they're going to end up paying through the roof, taxes, taxation, and so on. So these are, this company Lendi, again, it takes 5 minutes to apply. And you can check if you can qualify, and they'll fund non-owner occupied up to 4 units in most states so far, and growing every single day. This is the general way that we set up foreign companies, for the setup for foreigners investing in US real estate or other businesses. It's a complicated structure, but we try to simplify it. The general gist is we usually, especially if you're going to remain in your home country, specifically Canada, we are generally going to set you up with an LP LLC, limited partnership LLC structure. If Canadians set up LLCs directly, oftentimes they're going to be subject to double taxation. That's not the case for people from every country. It's specific to Canada just because of the tax treaties, and the CRA is never our best friend, right? Just saying. Real estate investment in the US, even in tough economic times, population is increasing and there's a housing shortage. There are less than 1 million new homes every year. Let me tell you, I'm in South Florida and I've never seen a housing market like this. It's like Toronto, but here it is in South Florida because everybody wants to come down here now. So there's 4 million college graduates a year, 1 million green cards a year, and cost and regulation are major factors that are inspiring people to invest in US real estate every day. Real estate, short-term rentals are great, and domestic travel is increasing. There's also something called medium-term rentals, which is more like, several weeks as opposed to a few days. And a lot of areas now have restrictions on you can't rent for STR for less than 3 days or 7 days or whatever. So as we all know, supply and demand are related, and increased regulation is also limiting the supply, and yet the demand is increasing. So it's very interesting to watch. These are some of the homes that you can buy, like in Florida, for example, or California. High growth states include Florida, Texas, North Carolina, South Carolina, Arkansas, Arizona, Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, and Tennessee. The last 4 are lower price point homes, but we have never seen so much demand for investment in Florida. If I had 1,000 multifamily properties to sell a day, I'd probably sell them all. It's a big deal. So we have a team that helps you find all of your investment properties. And this is our 7 elements of an essential cross-border investment strategy, and making sure that you're working with not only the lawyer, but the realtor, and finding that happy medium to figure out what to do with your money, where should you invest, why should you invest, and also what's the structure that you need to invest. So we have presentations on Tuesdays and Sundays. I think a few of you have been to one or more of our presentations. Am I saying that like a Canadian? I think so. Anyway, we focus on 4 projects for no reason other than that we like these 4 projects, and they each present something different and a different value. My favorite one happens to be the Embassy Suites because I know the name and it's a Hilton project, but I've stayed at the Grove and loved it. Story Lake is awesome. Windsor Island is a beautiful community, a little more out of the way. The 3 projects on the screen are all within 3 to 4 miles of Disney. And they are offering, like, some of them offer lease back. They're offering, you know, very like great foreign investor financing through their own preferred lenders. It's really a great opportunity to invest for between $250,000 and $1 million. I mean, where else are you going to buy into that opportunity? So it's a beautiful thing, and we really love Orlando. We've been there so many times that we decided to start spending some time focusing on helping people get into the Orlando market. Short-term rentals, all of these are short-term rental friendly. Some of them have management companies built in, some of them don't. So if I were you, and we'll put this link in the chat, Shema, make sure you put the link, please. It's realestateacrossborders.com/Orlando. So just like the link to get into the Zoom, instead of /live, just use /Orlando, and you can sign up to join us on Sunday at 5 or Tuesday at 8, both Eastern times, okay? I'm not gonna go through the details of these projects other than just to show you them. I think we are purchasing, I'm joint venturing with my clients on 2, and I'm purchasing 1 myself as well. So I'm very excited about that. I guess you probably can't imagine where I would be purchasing the one for myself. So I wanted to just bring to your attention, those of you that are realtors or want to be realtors or would like to be a realtor in the US, there is an opportunity to get your US real estate license, like in a state like Montana, without your social security number and without a residency requirement. And the beauty of that is that you can earn referral fees. Believe me, that these are incredible referral fees, especially for Orlando referrals, because the commissions are pretty high. So if you, as a realtor licensed anywhere, bring us a client from anywhere, we can pay you a referral fee as a licensed realtor. So that can be very lucrative. And this opportunity becomes even greater if you join our EXP team. I am with EXP Commercial. I am the chair of the Investing Across Borders Committee for EXP Commercial. And it's been just a whirlwind for the past 2 years since joining EXP. And it's been great because there are so many ways that I earn income. On the 21st of every month, I get a check in my bank from RevShare. I have 30 referral agreements out there right now. I had none 2 years ago, like none. I don't think I've ever sent a referral to anybody until now, until the past year and a bit or so, because I'm so active with EXP. EXP is a real estate brokerage, which offers multiple streams of income. It's a little different than the traditional real estate brokerage house. And the beauty of it is that even if you're a Canadian, you can earn passive income. And when you come into the US, if you do get a visa, you can continue to earn that passive income, as well as potentially earn active income by representing buyers and sellers. And there are stock awards as well. So it's an amazing opportunity. And right now we are currently in 18 countries. EXP became even more popular at the beginning of COVID because it's a cloud-based company. So the stock went crazy and it's been a fun ride. And we are in 18 countries, including Israel, Panama, Mexico, Brazil, Canada, of course, the UK, Australia, South Africa, which has a lot going on right now. We wish them well. And just growing every single day. And it's exciting to be part of this story and build it with the company as they continue to grow. I'm going to skip through these 2 slides and go to this because I want to share something with you guys. And then I'm going to turn it over to questions, and we're going to go through some FAQs. So just 1 second, please. Does anybody have questions in the meantime? No? All right. I'm going to inspire you to have some questions. So let's go through this quickly here. Hopefully it will work. Yeah, okay, great. No, the only problem is you're not going to hear it. Oh my goodness. Mary, do you know how to set that up so they can hear if I play a video?
Yeah, you need to connect it in a way that allows to get the audio from your computer.
Oh, I don't know.
So there's sometimes an option that comes up where it says share sound, and you're able to do it that way.
Audio. No,
It's at the bottom, actually.
bottom.
Yeah, it says share sound at the bottom of the where you're sharing it from. And it says share sound optimized for video clip. So just click on share sound so it
I
picks
don't
up the
see
sound from
share
your computer.
sound. Share screen, maybe here. Share screen. Show myself. No, it's not letting me do it. I should have done this before. I apologize. I was going to play these two, but it's not letting me do it. So I apologize. I can't. I'll figure it out for next time. I'm going to
You
share
do
them
have some
instead.
questions
Sure.
in the chat.
Mhm.
So Lisa's asking, do you have different suggestions for someone who may want to stay in their home country for 5 years and then have the option to move to the US, or is it the same advice?
So if you want to stay in your home country, that's absolutely an option. As Mark was saying, one of the beautiful things about the E2 visa is that you can be wherever you want to be. I have a colleague, he's actually an immigration lawyer in the US, originally from Toronto, and he's on an E2 visa, and he spent most of COVID in Spain. So there's no requirement for you to be anywhere specifically until and unless you get a green card. I see another question, is the process the same if you have a partner who is American? No, the process is different because unless you're not getting married. If you're getting married, then we do a green card through marriage. If you're not getting married, then we do pretty much the same process for you. And South Africans, no, unfortunately, the E2 and E1 are not available for South Africans, but a lot of South Africans have access to other passports. So we can grab that, or we can do what's called an L1 visa, which is an intra-company transfer of a senior executive or manager. So if you're a business owner or you're running a business in your country that doesn't have access to an E1 or E2 because of a lack of treaty, we can do that. Or if you have substantial means, we can apply for an EB5. So these are all things that we would go through during the consultation. So is it possible to buy property that your family can live in? Yes, it is possible, but it's not just about buying property. So your family can live anywhere that they want to live, if it's multifamily, but you have to be running a business. So obviously your piece of that rental is not going to count as part of your business, but you can live there. That's not a problem. Another question. Okay, Fahad, let me see if I can let you ask your question. Fahad?
Hello, hi.
Hi.
This is Fahad here.
Yes.
I have one piece of question. So,
Mhm.
could you please elaborate more about the property management business? Because maybe I would be interested to acquire an up and running contracts or the management, which can qualify not only for the visa but also can provide a semi-passive source of income. Can you
Sure.
please shed some light? Is it doable? Is it possible?
Sure. So let me just grab something here because I wanted to slide. Can I get to that slide? I don't. Maybe Mary, I should let you co-host and share the video because it's not working. So the property management, so some people choose to set up their own property management company, which I don't think is the best way to go, because when you're coming to the US, and I could probably connect you with people that have had this experience, when you're coming to the US from any country, you're moving to a new country. And that's always challenging, no matter how simple you think it is, even coming from a country just over the border. And we've seen how drastically different Canada and the US are in the past 2 years, more so probably than I've ever seen before, in terms of, politics and approach to life and lifestyle and vaccinations and all of that.
तो
But
ये किसका बच्चा है?
pardon me? Oh, so, but the difference when you're buying a property management franchise or another type of franchise is that it's ready-made for you. So when it's a ready-made package, they're going to be there, just like in Mark's case, which is not a franchise, but is similar to a franchise. The business is kind of given to you on a silver platter, and they manage and help you manage the business. They provide marketing support, they provide ongoing branding support, they provide employment support even. So it really depends, but they're one of the most popular. I actually have an investor who's just invested in one of the most popular property management franchises for international investors. And there's a few. Now, something to be very aware of when it comes to franchises, and this is something that we do with Mark's option as well, is that when you're investing in a franchise or buying a business, and this is why often buying a business for a visa is particularly challenging. The business owner, that the seller, doesn't want to wait for to get his money for the business, right? He wants to get the money right away. So when you're buying a franchise, a lot of franchises that are E2 friendly have what's called an E2 visa contingency built into the franchise documents or as an addendum, meaning that you put your money in escrow until you get your visa. So the only money that's at risk prior to that is your deposit. But that's an advantage of buying into a business like a franchise, as opposed to buying somebody else's business, which means that they're not going to be willing to do that for the most part because they want their money. They're trying to sell their business, not hold on to it so you can get a visa. So property management is definitely a good way to go. Mary, why don't you tell us a little bit about your personal experience?
Sure. So I actually came to the US about 20 years ago through my father, who actually had an H-1 visa. And as a result, our kids, obviously his kids, and my mom, we had an H-4 visa. And we went to one of the best attorneys, and it took us a really long time to become residents of the US because we were told at the time that we are Mexicans, and H-1 visas, there's a certain quota for how many people they can accept as people who can apply for a residency. So I became a citizen 4 years ago. So I was here for almost 16 years, so actually it's almost 17 years. And we did everything legal. There was no issues when it comes to our legal status at any point, but it just took us so long because we didn't have somebody like Lauren who could have said, you're a business owner, because my father is a business owner. You can apply for different kinds of citizenship. You can become a citizen of another country in a much lesser time than being Mexican to be able to expedite the process. There was a time during my stay here in the US when I turned 21 that I had to go into the immigration room where they had to check my status because I was in the process of becoming a resident, but I was also not able to be under my father's visa at the time. Mm-hmm. So it was obviously, at one point I couldn't work for a long time. I couldn't work here because as an H-4 holder, you don't have a social security number. So there are a lot of issues with that. And, it took us 20 years. This is without any issues. We always turned on our documents on time and everything. But I feel like, and this is something my brothers and my mother would always say, is we didn't have somebody who was fighting for us every step of the way so that we can change the way that we were handling the situation, right? Maybe not as Mexicans, but maybe becoming citizens of another country because we have ties to the European Union or another type of visa that would help us. So when I started to work with Lauren, it was like, yeah, I know how frustrating this can be because somebody like us who doesn't have any issues with legal immigration status or anything, how can I make this faster, more efficient? And we had to deal with people, an accountant that didn't talk to the lawyer at all, the immigration lawyer at all, a business lawyer, because my father is a business owner. It was all over the place. And yes, we got our papers, but who knows how much money we've spent, getting our citizenship residency first, then our citizenship, and being able to combine everything so it's just one process, and not 17 different things at the same time.
Yeah, thank you, Mary. So listen, I didn't pay her to say that, okay? This was her own experience, and it really is the experience a lot of people go through, including myself, because there's not a lot of providers out there. It's exhausting to live your clients' dreams with them. And it's fun and it's impactful, but it's exhausting. I'll give you a perfect example. I have a client who drove down, they left on Friday from Ontario. I won't say the name of the city. And they bought a house sight unseen. And we closed on that house last Wednesday, not locally, so I wasn't able to see it. It's 4 hours away from me. So they bought this house sight unseen. They're investing in a business with Mark, and they are going to be doing great things. They actually left, like, you know, the husband was a union worker and she was a teacher, and now they're going to be running their own business. It's very exciting. They came down and yesterday or the day before arrived at their new home, and there were a lot of problems with the house. They closed and they signed everything remotely, but there were a lot of problems. Now, I wasn't there to handle it. I wasn't even there, like, you know, I wasn't the realtor of record. And needless to say, I mean, the broker called me this morning. He's like, why are you this and that? And I said, because my clients came to that house and that should not have ever happened. Why was it not handled? And so needless to say, everything is being properly reversed and fixed, but it still leaves a bad taste in the client's mouth. And I didn't sleep last night because I felt terribly, not for anything other than, why should they experience that? They're moving to a new country. Isn't it stressful enough? So I really take my clients' needs and desires and goals to heart, sometimes to my own detriment, but it means a lot to me. And I will always be there for you, literally every step of the way. And we are a holistic company. I don't want anybody to have to feel unprotected when it comes to taxes, or unprotected when it comes to investing, setting up a business, or doing something in Texas, or buying a property in Idaho. It doesn't matter. It's borderless. And what we do is truly borderless. And I have vetted partners. I just referred a client who's investing in Texas to my colleague in Texas who was just recently interviewed on my podcast. She's a lawyer there. She understands the nuances of Texas. So it's all about just having those relationships. That is going to always be the key to your success. And knowing how to push a little button and probe beyond, like, well, we did all the right things and we submitted all the documents on time, but look at the mess that you still experienced, because nobody was really standing there pushing for you and working for you every step of the way. Yes, Marsha Lee.
Hi, I had a question.
Sure.
I would like to get into the short-term rental business in the States. I'm originally a citizen in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Where would be the best area per se to invest in?
So we don't, again, that's not going to be a one size fits all answer. I'm happy to share a link. I think my assistant did, but Shema, please share a link to set up a consult with me, and we can go through what your needs are and your budget and your goals, and figure out where to make those investments, whether you want passive, whether you want active. I mean, like I said, you should definitely come and learn about some of these great Orlando projects, which are really turnkey and give you lots of opportunities to invest as passively as you want to.
Okay, good, thank you.
Of course. And the next one we're doing is on Sunday.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? So Mary posted some of these questions for us. We've talked about how real estate investing can be included. The business plan. So a lot of people say, well, I have a business plan. No, you don't. You have a business plan that's a real business plan, like a traditional business plan, but it's not a Visa business plan. Okay. And a Visa business plan flies in the face of those traditional business plans. And I wrote them for probably 10 years before I ever touched a Visa business plan. The ROI in a Visa business plan is the Visa. You want to minimize, in a regular business plan, you want to minimize staff. In a visa business plan, you want to maximize staff. You want to show that you're having an impact. You want the numbers are less important in a visa business plan than is satisfying the check boxes for immigration. So it's a very different animal. And sometimes we have to take them apart and put them back together again, literally. So that's important, an important question. I do not give tax advice. I bring my tax advisor in every single time because he is going to be the one that's going to suggest the best way to structure your business, whether you're planning to move or not, and allow you that flexibility to potentially move in the future. What type of structure do you need is also going to depend on if you're remaining a taxpayer in your home country, like you, Marshall, or if you're planning to get a visa. And all of these are relevant issues that we look at when we're coming up with that strategy. The most important thing for me is to develop a strategy that works for you and that's going to help you accomplish your short and long-term goals. I was going to share these client experiences. I'm going to put them into the chat because it's definitely well worth watching. And for next time, I will have the sound available so you don't have any issues. I'm sorry about that. I almost said sorry. See that? I still speak Canadian. I can't even help myself. All right, it's not going in here. Nope, they're not going in. They're just going in over and over and over into the PowerPoint. So I will put them in when I stop sharing my screen. Maybe that's why. This is the link to the discounted consult, which I would invite all of you to partake of. It's $197. The usual value is $500. And I'm doing that for the month of December. We're also having some contests going on. You guys will receive an email that Mary will be sending, and you'll subscribe to my YouTube channel and my podcast, and you'll be entered into a contest to win an Amazon gift card and all that fun kind of thing. I spend way too much time on Amazon. I just had a new package delivered today. Here's some information about all of the things we do. This is a picture of the front page of our website and my contact information, of course. And here is my bio, and I am happy to stop sharing and try to put these things into the chat and answer further questions. So let's see if I can do that. Oh my God, it worked. It's a miracle. Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Carrie, come on, you gotta have a question. No? I don't know if she's still here. How about you, Zoe? You just joined. I know a little late. Where are you from? I'm sorry, Hannah. If you want to ask a question, I don't see it. So you're welcome to ask the question. Which email can I reach? Yes. Well, if you look up here, when my assistant posted the link to all of my information, but the best email to reach me is this. Okay. And also you can go to this link, this little cute little fun download, and all of my contact information is in there, as are all of the downloads that we have available. Here we are. Of course. How long does it typically take? Okay, that's the question of the day. We need to add that question, Mary, to that list of questions. How long? And how can I get it without leaving the US? Those are the two famous questions right now, because people are like, I'm done with lockdown. I don't want to deal with winter. Okay. So, and I have only 5 minutes left because I do have a consult with an Australian investor in 5 minutes. So how long does it typically take is a very complicated answer, because usually it takes between 3 and 6 months. It takes, we have to find the business, get the business. That takes time. If you're buying a franchise, it might take a little longer because they have to do due diligence on you. If you're looking for a particular business or you haven't started on your real estate investment journey, it might take a little bit longer. Our process usually is about 2 to 3 months, okay? Then the application is submitted. If you do the application through traditional means, like submit it to, let's say, Toronto, my favorite town, well, my second favorite. My first favorite is actually way far away. Mary can guess where that is, but really, really far, literally on the other side of the world. But my second favorite is Toronto. And the interviews there are delayed because we're still dealing with COVID backlogs. My mom is texting me as we're on this call saying she's at her first live theater production in 2 years, and she's sending me pictures of how far apart they're sitting, which is great. I like it. but you know, it's impacted us. And so the delays in Toronto are about 10 months. So even if we take 2 to 3 months, Carrie, I see you hiding there and I wanted you to say hi, but no, I was asking you if you had any questions, but in any event, the process is quick, but the delay for the interview is long. So you're looking at about a year. So you want to start this process well over a year in advance if that's the way you want to go. Now, there is another option that is called a change of status visa. Okay, I was talking with one of the lovely ladies on here, the one who's from Winnipeg, yesterday about this. And so the change of status visa, you're in the US and you don't want to leave. Okay, so after you're here for 3 months, usually 3 months, because we don't want to have a conflicting intention, you can apply for a change of status visa. It's not a full visa. I call it the E2 Lite because it's kind of like a step, and it gives you up to 2 years to be in the US in status with a social security number, running your business, building your business, but you can't leave. You can't go anywhere. You can't even go on a cruise. So for those people that don't care and don't have family in their home country and don't plan to leave or want to leave, that's an option if you don't want to deal with the cold. But it's not, and it's also an option as a step to the consular processing because you'll be waiting. So let's say you do both of them together, you can apply for consular processing while you're in E2 status with your change of status. The other thing is that the change of status gets turned around super fast because we submit the application and we pay a $2,500 premium processing fee. And guess what? You get your answer within 15 days. Okay? That's amazing. So ways for someone from India to get a green card through business real estate investing. The only way for somebody from India to really get a green card is with an EB-5. Excuse me. And the EB-5 is 500,000 or $1 million in a viable business. I actually have an opportunity that's available for one investor right now into an amazing hotel project in Los Angeles. You don't have to live there. It's just that's where the project is. And if you'd like to sign up for a consult with me, Hannah, we can certainly discuss that and go from there. Okay. So I will put the link to my consult in the chat again one more time, the discounted consult. Hopefully it will work. For the change of status visa, we go on a tourist visa and then apply for the other. Correct. That's right. You come here on your tourist visa, which you automatically get when you leave Canada, and you apply for from other countries, and you do it that way. And the other thing is that they're no longer charging for an EAD for your spouse. That's a new thing. So that's available too. All right. I can't urge you enough to take advantage of the half hour with me, because then we'll sit down and talk about all of the opportunities and see what's available to you. Add us to the E5 discussion. Oh, Carrie. Okay. Got it. All right, cool. So let's chat further when you guys are ready. Come to learn about the Orlando projects. They're really great. And wishing you happy holidays if I don't see you again before that, okay? Take care. Bye, everybody.